opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network. And hello, everybody, and welcome inside a Monday episode of Running Point. Bringing in the week. It is the final day of September 30th. We are brought to you, as always, by our good friends, top right-hand corner of the screen. As always, you can see them, Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you. We try to do the same here on this show every single day. And one of the ways we do that, of course, is our player profiles and coaches' corners will be featured on the show. We're going to continue that trend today back on the volleyball court. And we will go into Crestview, who is lighting the world on fire like they do every season. Allie Howe will be featured on today's episode of Running Point, one of the seniors. Back on the floor, had to miss last year. Back on the floor. We're happy to see her back on the floor. Crestview's happy to see her back on the floor. An energetic leader of that team. We talk about all that stuff and more on this interview. It'll be really fun. We'll feature that a little bit later on in the show towards the second half. We'll recap Friday night and Saturday, all the stuff that happened over the weekend. We'll preview tonight. We have some big matchups going on this week. Starting tonight, I know we have one really big one in girls soccer conference championship on the line in Canfield. We'll talk about all that and more. So it's going to be a fun episode. But before we do all that, I want to talk about a little bit just of something that's I think needs talked about even more and more and more, and I want to drive it home because I was watching Pitt volleyball on Sunday yesterday dismantle my team, Georgia Tech, like not even close, right? It was 3-set sweep. Pitt's number 1. We're number 13. It was supposed to be a big matchup. But anyway, I'm watching Pitt, and I'm just like, this team's elite. And it got me to thinking, not only is Abby Emsch going to be on that program, and that's just one of those pinch me moments because that team is so good. They're just ridiculous. I can't even try to find a hole in their game, and I'm looking at it from a college volleyball analyst kind of thing where you're trying to nitpick on every team. But there's not a lot of holes in this Pitt volleyball team at all. So you're looking at it and you're like, man, I can't believe we're covering a player that's going to go to that program with those people and those players. But it also got me thinking, and we've talked about that. We've talked about how awesome of an opportunity that is and how much that should be this celebrated and put in the lights and how it's kind of equivalent to a football player in the area that signs on to like Alabama or Ohio State. We always that's going to get a lot of attention. Yeah, Ohio State a little bit less because I think we grow numb. And I think this is one of the big reasons why. We kind of grow a little bit numb to the local colleges. So like when we had players go to Ohio State football in the past, from different places, I felt like it was like really, really cool. Yeah, that's awesome. But it was also like kind of underplayed because it was Ohio State and they're so in the news that they kind of get dulled a little bit when in reality, like Ohio State is one of the top, 5 programs in the country when it comes to football. And I think the same thing happens when you go to like a pit volleyball where it's like that's awesome, but it's so local. It's so, we're so and there's so much volume of that school that we kind of get like kind of numb to it. Same thing, like even with YSU, that's a Division 1. That's a Division 1 program. When we have kids go there, it's almost like, well, it's this YSU. But I want to talk a little bit about um, how special that level of sports are, and how I think a lot of people, especially athletes, so this is going out to the student athletes out there that we're covering and the ones that we aren't covering. If you're watching out there from outside the Ysn family, I don't think they understand this how elite that level of sports is. Like, we're talking, you go there, practice before practice, practice after practice. You're sacrificing so much for the sport. There's a reason that those girls and guys, and in whatever sport you want to talk about at the Power 5 Division 1 level, there's a reason why they're the top 5.51%, right? Of the small percent of people that go to college to play sports anyway. And then you go into the amount of people that go to play for those Power 5 Division 1 programs in the ACC. Well, I guess can't say Power 5 anymore, but you know what I'm talking about. Those big names that are always in the media. When you go to that level of sports, that's like the small percent of the small percent, elite of the elite, right? So the effort and the sacrifice it takes to get there, I think we miss, because we're kind of just like this dream of going D1, and we think I see a lot of kids this kind of, I deserve it. I deserve D1. This is entitled to me because I'm a big fish in the area. I can score 3 touchdowns every game, or I can get 20 kills a night, or we go into other sports. I score 25 points per game in basketball. I'm entitled to this Division 1 Power 5 look, and they don't see the stuff that goes into being that kind of player, right? That's beyond the stats and the numbers and what you can do in a game, like what you do in practice, what you do outside of practice, what you do with the school, the classroom, like all that stuff, like the sacrifices that you have to make to be at that level are so high. There's a reason it's elite, because a lot of people don't want to give up that. A lot of people don't want to go through what you have to go through to be at that level. I'm watching pit volleyball, and I'm watching all these players that are making that program so great, and I'm thinking to myself, like, they don't, you don't wake up and get that good. Like, there is no talent in the world on that team that is just talent. No one is that just talented where they can just wake up, go do that, and then not put anything into it. No one. I promise you that. So when I tell you, like, players like Abby M, players like, the football players we've seen in the last couple of years, players like that are going to D1 Power 5, players like, Cindy Watts, players like even like the D1 players, I know we always talk about when you go to college is special, and that is true. And I don't want to take away from the guys that are going to D3 and D2 and JUCO, because those are awesome moments, and you get recruited to those schools, you get handpicked. That is great, and that is awesome, and that will become a sacrifice as well. That will become a job as well. But when you're talking about these guys, these elite of the elite, and the things that they're going to have to go through to be where they're at, it ramps it up a notch. And I was just watching, once again, I was just watching pit volleyball, and I was like, whew, we have someone going to that program. It's nuts. It should be celebrated. It should be celebrated every day. I probably will. Talking about IBMs every day. Like, I can't, we have a player going to that. What I saw on the floor on Sunday. Can't wait to see him live. Georgia Tech comes to town. Last game of the season in November. I'll be there. Gonna be fun. Let's get into the scoreboard. Let's talk about what went down over the weekend. and we are on Monday's scoreboard. That is not where we want to go. We'll be back on today's scoreboard a little bit later on in the show, but what we want to do right now is go to the 27th, which is Friday, and talk about the games that went on Football Friday. We go to the top of the line. Beaver all over McGuffey, 49 to nothing. The final score there. Salem, they have another heartbreaker, and this is just another one to just, man, Salem's so close to having a couple more wins on their schedule than they do. This is one that went down to the wire. Salem has the ball down, 4? They're driving. Clock's ticking away. They're down in the red zone. It's 4th and 4 or 5, that mid-range 4th down. And quarterback keeper, he's going out to the edge. Gets stopped really close to the line. Actually, in my opinion, it looked like live that he got it. He was tackled in bounds. So first you're thinking, no way they're going to be able to spike the ball because there's like 10 seconds left when he got tackled. So you're like, oh man, they got to really go to spike it. And then there's an Alliance player that gets hurt. So that stops the clock. So then you're thinking, okay, Salem's in business. They don't have to rush to the line. They can get a play. They'll get a playoff. They'll have one last chance at the end zone to win this. And then during all that timeout with the player injury, the referees say they want to measure. They bring out the chains. And y'all, when I say this is about as close as you can get to the chains without being a first down, I mean, it was inches, guys, inches short of a first down. Turnover on downs. Alliance gets the ball. They knee it out. They win 20-16. It's just you feel for this program right now because they're right there. There's a couple of things haven't gone their way in these games that are very winnable. And for Salem, that stinks. It's sports though, right? These are the lessons that sports teach you. You do a lot of things the right way. You do things that put you in position to be able to win games. It doesn't always come out your way because there's another team trying to do the same thing on the other side. So that's sports. That's life. Salem will bounce back. They have a very winnable game this week against Minerva. So we'll see what they do against the Lions coming up on Friday. Ursuline just sends a statement. Just sends a big statement as they blow out Austintown Fitch at home. 35-0. Their defense was on point. Their offense was doing everything it wanted to do. DC Farrell had 5 total touchdowns. And Fitch, the stuff they were getting away with, winning games with defense and run game and not scoring a lot, didn't get away with it this time. They had 17 points in their week 5 victory and that 17-7 win. They were struggling on offense. They just did enough. This did enough. They went into a defensive buzzsaw that stopped the run, made Fitch one-dimensional, and it wasn't good. Didn't go their way. But I think a loss like this for the Falcons is actually good news. You want it to happen now, and you want to be able to really expose the things you have to fix. Like a glaring example of, guys, we have to fix this. Because you can say that as much as you want in film during a win, but I feel like kids, when they win, it's hard to tell them we have to really fix this. Like this is a red flag right here, right? And I think there were red flags in those games that they were winning. And now when you look at film for 35-0, that's like a little reality check. Like, yeah, there's a lot of things now we have to take seriously. We have to fix, and they will, because 1, they're a well-coached team. 2, they're a very talented team. And 3, I can tell from the games we've watched, they're a cerebral team. They understand football. They understand what's going on. So they'll be right back to it, and that's their first loss of the year, so they'll be fine. But I think this is actually, in the grand scheme of things, it'll be a good omen for the Falcons to be able to say, hey, we really do, like, this is serious now. We really do need to address some of these things that have been happening on tape. And for Ursuline, what can you say? I mean, everything went right. Their game plan was immaculate. Coach Reardon and his staff put together a wonderful plan on how to shut down Fitch and make them one-dimensional. And on offense, everything worked, and they had a couple of non-offensive touchdowns too. So everything just went exactly the way Urson could have imagined that game too. Crestview all over Brookfield, 57-7. The Rebels look better every week, and this was a game where I thought could have been competitive. Rebels had other plans. Canfield goes to Dover, falls to the Tornadoes, 31-14. Final score there. Louisville gets a close victory, 7-6 over Canton Central Catholic, a big defensive stop to win the game. LeBray all over Champion, final score 36-13 there. We have Columbiana over Latonia, 49-6. East Liverpool on the road at Cambridge, 41-7, the final score there. Fairport Harding beats Grand Valley, 43-13. We have Southeast. They go and they are, hosting Garrettsville Garfield, and we know how good the G-men are. All G-men in this one, 42-7. The final score there. Same thing with a blowout for Geneva over Edgewood, 49-0. The final score from Ashtabula. A close one in Girard, in Cortland, as Girard comes into Lakeview, gets the 13-6 victory. Girard's defense has been playing really well the last couple of weeks, especially. Last week they held Pymatuning Valley down to 13 points. This week they hold a Lakeview team that scored 37 points the week before, and they hold them to 6. So a very good Girard defense, and they get enough offense to win, 13-6 the final. Orange pulls out the victory with as close to a walk-off as you can get. I mean, it wasn't as time expired, but it was a game-winning touchdown run by Mr. Ty down there. And they win 42-38 over Harvey. Niles falls to Hickory from PA, 49-0. Jefferson all over Conneaut. 2 weeks for Jefferson, 50 points in both games, as they beat Conneaut 50-0. Lisbon falls to United, another one that United just dominates, 42-0. The final score there, Mineral Ridge and Lowville get into a really good battle. Mineral Ridge takes the lead early in the fourth quarter, 27-26. Lowville scores 2 straight touchdowns to get the 40-27 win. Madison walks into Lakeside, gets the victory, 42-6. Wyndham all over Matthews, 60-6. The final score there. Bombers are still on an air raid. West Branch with the 64-0 win over Minerva. Liberty with the blowout of Newton Falls, 48-0. A lot of lopsided games here in Week 6. Perry adds to that, 41-14 over Lutheran West. A close one in South Range. The Raiders hold on for a 38-30 victory. This was a roller coaster of a game where both teams had moments where it felt like they were going to run away with it. Poland scored 2 quick touchdowns, went up 14-0. South Range had, 28, I believe, unanswered points before Poland ever touched the scoreboard again to go up 28-14. So it felt like the Raiders have all the edge. And then towards the end, Poland had a touchdown to make it 38-30, and then they had an opportunity at an onside kick. They could not get it, and the Raiders were able to survive it, 38-30, and keep their home league record intact at least until next year, because that was their last home league game of the year. So no one in the 88 has come into South Range and won, and that will continue on until next season. Pymatuning Valley goes to St. John. All over it are the Lakers, 40-0, the final score there. Southern gets the best of East Palestine, 44-21. Springfield all over Jackson Milton, 40-3, the final score there. That makes Sean Guerrero the winningest head coach in Springfield football program history. Congratulations on that feat. Struthers gets to win 26-0 over Hubbard. Beaver Local falls to Union Local, 41-14. Valley Christian all over Wellsville. Final score there, 46-14. McDonald gets the blowout of Waterloo, 35-0. Western Reserve pulls away from Camel after this game being close for a while. 38-14, the final score there. Mohawk gets the win, 39-14 over Union Area. JFK gets the win over Mogador, 27-8. That's a big win on the road for JFK against a very good and premier program in the state, powerhouse in the state, always in the playoffs, always making deep runs. This game was tied at 8 at halftime. So JFK pulls away with 19 unanswered points in the second half to get the win. Howland falls to Notre Dame Cathedral Latin, 63-14. And then Hoban is all over St. Vernon out of Illinois, 56-13. The final score there. Hoban gets the victory. We go to Saturday football there. East wins over Dawn 30-0, and Boardman gets the win 14-6 over Cardinal Mooney. Boardman just one loss at home still, and it was a close one. So the Spartans are looking really good, especially when they're in the friendly confines of Boardman. Volleyball on Saturday. Hoban still undefeated, still rolling strong. They get the straight set sweep over Glen Oak. Newton Falls sweeps Warren Harding. Canfield goes down to the Perry tournament. They go 2-1. Wins over Madison, and North a loss to Perry in 3. Those were a tri-match setup, so they played best 2 out of 3. Jefferson was also at Perry. They fell to Eastlake North. They also beat Madison, and they had a good day there. Perry gets wins over Berkshire and Geneva and Canfield. They had 5 wins total on the week. And then you go into Austintown Fitch. They spent the weekend, Friday and Saturday, playing at the Avon Lake tournament. They had a win over Pickerington Central, Columbia, and Holy Name to get into the Gold Bracket Championship on Saturday afternoon. They fell to Avon Lake there, though, in 2 straight sets to lose in that championship game. But a good showing for Fitch, going 3-1 on the weekend at Avon Lake. When looking at boys soccer, Hoban gets the win over Hoban, 5-0 the final score there. Louisville gets the win over Minerva, 8-1. Beaver Local gets the win over Weir. That was a championship final as Beaver Local wins it dominatingly, really, 8-1. Columbiana gets the edge over Newton Falls, 3-2. Crestwood wins over Southeast, 2-1. We have Conneaut winning over Pymatuning Valley by 1 goal, 4-3. Orange also a 1-goal victory, 3-2 over Willoughby South on the road. Poland also goes on the road, gets a 3-0 victory, shutout of Marlington. Another 1-goal game as Cardinal Mooney gets the win 3-2 over Highland on the boys' side. Mohawk falls to Avonsworth 7-1, and Beaver gets the 2-1 win over Keystone Oaks. On the girls' side, Edgewood and Beechwood work to a draw 1-1. Perry and Berkshire also tie at 2. Another tie for Mooney and Highland as they go 2-2. Crestwood falls to Southeast. And what a tough one for the Red Devils. They came off a really big win over Champion, and they fall to Southeast 2 days later. Beaver Local gets the win over Oakland, 2-1. And then Brookfield wins over Harvey 6-1, the final score there. So that does it for the scoreboard from the weekend. A lot of action going down, a lot of fun stuff. We will take a break here on Running Point. When we come back, we have a player profile to feature Allie Howell from Crestview Volleyball coming up next on Running Point, brought to you by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology, from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online.
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
And on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
Craftsmanship to us is 60 years of pride and dedication.
Passed down from generation to generation.
The hardwood floors that your kids take their first steps on.
The solid wood doors you quietly close at night.
The things we create day in and day out are the products that end up turning your house into a home.
At Baird Brothers Fine Hardwoods, uncompromising quality and craftsmanship built our business.
And it will keep us moving forward for generations to come.
Going the extra mile at Greenwood Chevrolet means we want to take care of the community that takes care of us too.
And we have to work together always. And that's how you stay in business for 40 years.
You know, I love being a helper because when I help somebody, it makes me feel good.
It means a lot that I can make a difference in others' lives.
So I will do everything I can and just being there for them every step of the way.
I want them to know within the first 5 minutes that they could depend on me. That's what going the extra mile means, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun. It all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
And welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by our good friends, top right-hand corner of the screen, as always, Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. They go the extra mile for you. We try to do the same thing on this show every day. And one of the ways we do that is featuring the interviews that we're able to get throughout the season here on this show. And we will continue that today with a player profile featured from Crestview Volleyball, who is kind of lighting the world on storm. Allie Howe, one of their seniors, had a chance to talk with her a little bit earlier on in the year. We're going to feature her interview here today. It's a great interview. Hope you guys enjoy it. Anthony Hartwig here. We are in Crestview for a volleyball player profile. Senior Allie Howe joining us today. Allie, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.
All right, so it's your senior year in this incredible program of Crestview Volleyball that has been so dominant over the last 5-6 years. What's it like to kind of have the last go and to be able to be on the court and to have the last ride with this team?
Oh, you know, it's such an amazing feeling. I mean, we all are playing at such a high energy and high level of volleyball. And being out there with, like, the girls that are my family, I mean, it's an amazing feeling to be out there and have such a successful program the past couple years and be a part of that with them.
Coming off of last year where you weren't able to be on the court and being able to be back on the court with your teammates, what has that been like for you? How much more special does it make this year?
Yeah, you know, when I found out I couldn't play last year due to some unfortunate reasons, it was definitely heartbreaking. So coming back this year, I mean, it means so much. I mean, to be out there and be supportive and be with, like, my family.
Now, even though you couldn't play last year, we saw you at every game and you were a part of the hype squad, right? How much did that teach you just about bringing energy to the team and doing all the things as a teammate that you have to do that go beyond what you can do on the floor?
Yeah, I mean, like, being there last year, not being able to be actually on the court, it was definitely a different perspective than I was used to. So I had to really adjust and, you know, kind of like realize that I don't get to be out there. So I just had to be what I could for the team and be on the bench and support them in the best way I could.
How much of a leader do you think that made you come into this year? Like, how much better do you think of a leader you are because of the experience you had last year?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty used to being pretty loud and cheerful on the court and supportive of my teammates. But being on the bench last year and not being able to actually step on the court, I definitely feel like I stepped up a level of my leadership, just not being able to be out there and getting to cheer on my family and the people I love the most.
All right, this year we have seen you in many different roles on the team. We've seen you come in to serve. We've seen you be a libero at times. We've seen you as a defensive specialist. What does it mean to you to do whatever role the team needs you, whatever night it may be?
My freshman and sophomore year, I was a setter. So then my junior year, not being able to play, I just had to put in the off work during practice. And I feel like that's what gained me a back row position on the team. I've moved from middle back to right back to now I'm playing a lot of left back. So I've definitely gotten some diversity out there on the court. And, playing all the different positions, it just makes me feel like I'm very coachable and I can be put anywhere, but I'm really trying my best to work hard in each position I get put in and do the best I can in each spot.
Do you have a favorite position to be on the floor?
It was middle back for the longest time, but now that I've started to play left back, I think I'm starting to adapt to the different scenarios in which I'm going from middle back to left back. So I think I'm starting to like left back a lot better.
We've talked about it. This Crestview team is so dominant. They are undefeated. They haven't lost a home match since 2020. What's it like to just be a part of this program? To be a part of all the hoopla, to be a part of just such a high standard team and a high standard coaching staff and a high standard roster.
Yeah, I feel like it starts young. I mean, ever since we started in 7th grade, you get to look up to the older girls and see them winning and seeing them go undefeated and winning every match and being supportive of each other. So I feel like growing up with it and going throughout the years and finally getting into high school and being a part of it, it's like such a special feeling to be out there with and like have such high level volleyball players. It's just an amazing feeling to be out there with everyone.
I want you to take us through a Crestview practice because you guys find ways to always get better. Even when you're winning games 25-8, 25-10, 25-12, you'll talk to Coach Howard the next day and she'll say, we need to get better on this. We need to do better on this. So take us to what's the Crestview practice look like? How hard do you guys go in the gym when you get in the practices?
Yeah, we've been pretty busy with 3 games a week. So we usually only get 2 to 3 practices a weekend. But I mean, we go at it every practice. I mean, we start out conditioning and getting in some laps, stretching, getting some conditioning done. And then we always focus on what we could have done better in the past games. And we focus on working on that and improving our skill in each thing. So it's definitely a lot of conditioning and a lot of hard work put in during practice. And I think that's a real big part of our success. Sorry.
What's something that has been focused on the most in practice? What kind of skill or part of the game do you think this team has been really keyed in on and focused on during practices this year?
Definitely it started with serving. I mean, we were having a couple rough spots with serving during our first couple games, and we practiced that a lot. And now we've gone on some pretty hard serving streaks, sorry. And I just feel like serving was definitely a big one. And I want to say coverage, covering the block, covering tips, just being ready for anything and always on our toes.
All right, let's talk about you outside of the volleyball court, inside the school. Student athlete for a reason. What are some of the favorite subjects that you've been able to study and learn about?
Definitely some sciences. I took anatomy last year and I really liked that one. I'm in chemistry this year and so far it's going pretty good. So I'm really a big fan of science. I'm probably best at my English and reading though, so just depends.
What's a class that made you work really hard to get the grade you got? The one that you think was maybe the toughest you've taken?
Honestly, probably anatomy because it's just you have to learn every different type of the body and different things and how they function. So I definitely think I studied and put the most work in to get a good grade there.
Now, when you talk about this year in the classroom, I mean, are you a senior that has most of their stuff wrapped up, or do you still have a lot of hard challenges in the classroom ahead this year?
Yeah, no, I pretty much have all my classes and courses done. So I'm pretty much just in some fun classes. I mean, the only classes that I really are focusing on this year are chemistry and econ. It's economics. So those are my 2 hardest classes. But other than that, I'm just in some fun classes like yearbook and art.
What are I was gonna ask what are those fun classes? You just answered that, but what kind of arts are you into?
We really just focus on like coloring. It's like coloring pages and drawing stuff. So it's pretty fun. It's just something like take the time out of the day and relax and kind of calm down and color.
Talk to your inner child, right?
Yeah.
What other things are you interested in outside of volleyball? What kind of things do you do outside of volleyball that you would call interests or hobbies?
I would really just say hanging out with my friends and family. I mean, when I'm not at volleyball or school, I'm pretty much with them. Um, Going to like different other sports that our school has going on or other activities. I mean, I'm pretty much just involved in that or like club activities through school.
Now I know how much student sections help you guys as a volleyball program, and we see a lot of them out there, especially at home games. What's your favorite sport to go and be a part of the student section for?
Probably football. In the past, it hasn't been a big section really, but this year I feel like we've stepped it up, and it's definitely a fun part of going to the games every Friday and something to look forward to throughout the week.
You better step it up. That football team's playing pretty well right now.
Yeah.
What's your favorite student section theme? Because there's a lot of themes that float around.
I'd probably say like pink out just because pink's my favorite color. But it's fun to participate in the like more fun ones like Hawaiian or when you do like different themes versus each other. Like for Spirit Week next week we have country versus country club. So that's always fun to see people participate and see the different outfits.
We've talked about your school life and the classes you're taking. Do you have any other extracurricular activities or clubs that you're in besides the volleyball team?
Yeah, I'm in Leo Club through school, which is just like a community service program. Helps you get community service hours and helps put in work for other people. We go to nursing homes, churches. We just do the best we can to donate. And Spirit Club too. We basically just help with the student sections and make signs and try and get the school spirit up as much as we can.
Allie Howe in Spirit Club is the least shocking thing I've ever heard in a player profile. But I want to talk about Leo Club, being able to go out there in the community that supports you guys. I mean, Crestview community, the support you guys get from non-parents, non-students in your games is just phenomenal. So what's it mean to you, and I'm sure the other students in the Crestview school system, to be able to go out there and give back to the community that supports you so much?
Yeah, like you said, we have an awesome community. I mean, we have a huge section every game. I mean, the stands are always filled. So I feel like it's very well deserved that most of us on the team are a part of that club and help out in the community as much as we can just because they're always there for us. So it's really nice to know that we can give back to them and be there when they need us to.
I want to take time to talk about your family because I know you have a good one. So I want you to talk about your family, what makes it so special to you.
Yeah, I mean, my family is my biggest supporters. I mean, they're almost at every game, the farthest ones when we have to drive almost 2 hours. My mom is definitely my biggest supporter. She's in the stands every game. And like I said last year, not being able to play, I was definitely heartbroken. And that was when like it showed. I feel like my biggest supporters, like I said, my mom was still there every game, even though I was on the bench and not on the court. So I feel like my family played a big role in my attitude towards not being able to play last year. So it definitely means a lot to me.
All right, I always feel like there are two types of, or many types of moms, but when it comes to athletes in the crowd, there's ones that are super loud and the ones that are super nervous and they're just like hanging on every point. Which one do you think your mom is? Do you think she's super loud in the stands, or do you think she's in there like trying to just hold in her anxiety when you're on the court?
I think it depends on the game. I mean, when it's a close match, she definitely gets loud. If something happens or there's a bad call, she sometimes likes to make some comments that you can hear. But other than that, I feel like she's pretty quiet. She claps when we get a point, cheers sometimes. But yeah, definitely sometimes you can hear her.
Yeah, I got to make some comments every now and then, right?
Yeah.
It wouldn't be volleyball if you weren't like that. What about the support system, the rest of the support system you have, and role models? I want to talk about role models, especially the people in your life. I'm sure your mom is one of them that you've looked up to and that you can go to for advice, no matter what the time of day is or no matter what you're going through.
Yeah, definitely. I would say my mom's my biggest one. I mean, she's always there for me. I mean, she always has been. A lot of role models I would say are even just my friends and the girls on the volleyball court with me. I mean, we all can tell like when each other are having a bad day. So being there and when they can tell when I'm down or vice versa, we're always there to pick each other up. And I just feel like having them is one like kind of role model that I have, and then also having my family like and my friends I feel like are also like it's just nice to have a support system to know that if I'm having a bad day, I have them.
So let's say your friends are noticing that maybe you're not having your greatest day. What's something maybe a compliment or something they can say to really just automatically boost your attitude?
You know, I wouldn't say it's technically something that they could say, but especially at volleyball, I mean, like Abby Emsh and really all of the seniors. I mean, we've grown up together, so like knowing each other, like Abby would just make a funny comment, or they'll start dancing, or just silly little things that we can do to cheer each other up. I mean, it's always laughs like in the locker room and on the court together.
How much does volleyball serve as a little bit of an escape? Because you have a lot of other stresses. You have, social life that every kid goes through. You have school. How much do you use volleyball as just kind of a way to block all that out?
Yeah, I definitely say it's like one of the major things I go to when I'm not having like my best day or like I do need an escape. I would say volleyball's definitely my focus. I mean, sometimes it causes my bad days, but I mean, for the most part, I'm like that's just where I need to go.
Let's also talk about your future. You're a senior. You're about to graduate here in the spring. What do you see after high school? What are some goals that you have, some things you have in your future?
You know, like I said, helping others is definitely like one of the things I admire the most. So I am planning to go into a nursing program to be a nurse and help others. So that's the plan as of right now. Obviously, that could always change, but that's what I'm looking forward to most when I graduate.
There are a lot of ways to help people. What made you decide that you wanted to become a nurse or at least in the medical field?
Yeah, my mom's a nurse. She's been a nurse my whole life. So I've always gotten to hear her come home and tell me about the things she's got to help people with, or hearing her come home and tell me stories like that just mean a lot to her. It kind of, I think, set an example for me. And it made me realize that I think it would be nice to help give back and help others when they need it.
Keeping nursing in the family. I like it. I
Yeah.
like it. Allie, we end all these player profiles the same way. We give the player the chance to take the limelight off themselves for a little bit and shine it on the people that are in their life. We've talked about your mom quite a bit, and I know you have other people that support you. I want you to take a chance to take some time to give some thank yous out, some shout outs to the people that you know you wouldn't be here without.
You know, I would just say my team, my coaches. I mean, we have a great coaching staff, so they definitely deserve some thanks. My family, my friends. I mean, everyone that's always there for me. I mean, it's just great to know that I have such a great support system to be there for and to have when I need them. So definitely everyone there.
All right, Allie, we want to thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. We appreciate it. Wish you the best of luck going forward. We can't wait to talk to you again real soon.
Thank you.
That was Allie Howe from Crestview. I told you it was a great interview. Really was a great conversation. One of the energetic and just emotional leaders of that volleyball team. Really learned a lot about what it means to be a good teammate last year when she unfortunately was not able to play, but still at every game supporting the team, cheering on the team, doing things outside of volleyball that help the team succeed, whether that be shagging balls during warm-ups, running to get stuff out of lot. Like she was like the team assistant last year, really learning how to be a servant leader. I'm really a big component on you can't lead unless you know how to follow as well, unless you know how to serve. So she learned how to serve last year, and I'm not talking serving on the volleyball court. I'm talking just being someone that was there for her teammates, and that is carried over into this year. Luckily, now she's able to be on the floor, help them out, and be a member of that team in the sense that she can have an impact on the score of the games. But she's also just everything that she learned from last year carried over into this year. So great conversation there with Allie Howe from Crestview. We have a couple of more of those players that will be featured throughout the rest of the season. Let's go back into the scoreboard on ysnlive.com. By the way, I forgot to mention when we did the recap of the weekend, the YSN scoreboard presented by Burnett Pool Spas and Hot Tubs. We would not be able to bring the scoreboard to you without their generosity, so make sure to thank them if you are a fan of the YSN scoreboard. Let's get into the schedule for tonight. Here we go, volleyball. It is going to be Girard going to West Branch. That's a fun non-conference game between two teams with 13 or more wins. I think West Branch sitting at 14 wins, Girard at 13, two power-ranked teams. That should be a fun one. Orange going to Perry. Carrollton will be at Beaver Local. Beaver Local's Setter Ivanko going to be in line to get her 1,000th career assist tonight. So we wish her the best of luck there. Salem travels to East Liverpool. Brookfield goes to Hubbard tonight. Cheney going to Southern. We'll have Grand Valley going to Pymatuning Valley. The Battle of the Valleys going down. Jackson Milton going to LeBray. Lisbon travels to Heartland. It's round 2 between those two teams. Lisbon won a 5-set thriller to open the season. Now, a lot later in the year, they meet again. Heartland with revenge on the mind as we continue. Wyndham hosting Lordstown. Camel will be hosting Lowville. Badger will be hosting Maplewood tonight. McDonald goes on the road to Western Reserve. Middle Ridge will be at Waterloo. Poland goes to Howland. Sebring goes to Springfield. South Range will travel to Ursuline. Warren Harding will be at Mooney. We have Seneca at Conneaut. They're coming over from PA. Garrettsville Garfield, they're on the road at Lake Center Christian. That'll be a good game. Really good game. Newton Falls will be at Maplewood. Maplewood shows up on the schedule twice. Something's going to be wrong. St. John goes to Bristol. Louisville goes to Claymont. Boys soccer, a pretty light schedule for boys soccer today. Just 2 matches. Jackson Milton at Heartland Christian. Lakeside at Pie Valley. Girls soccer, though, a lot going down. Jefferson hosting Grand Valley. Lakeside going to Pymatuning Valley. Badger going to Ursuline. Perry going to Padua Franciscan. Boardman will travel to Warren Harding. Howland goes to Canfield. AAC supremacy on the line there. Crestview goes to United. Brookfield goes to Liberty. Garfield to Champion. Columbia will travel to LeBray. Springfield goes to Southeast. Newton Falls hosting Waterloo. Girard hosting Struthers. Hubbard going to Lakeview. Poland going to Niles. And then Louisville traveling to Alliance. So that'll do it for the scoreboard. Let's get you to what broadcasts will be on the network tonight and what games you can watch on ysnlive.com/live. Matt Maher will put on his volleyball hat and he'll be at Campbell Memorial covering Lowville versus Campbell. I will be at Ursuline for their matchup with South Range. And then on the girls soccer scene, the Poland Perry Padua game will be covered by their school. And that'll do it for the broadcast tonight. Chris Sigler, I think, will also be in Beaver Local. Chris Sigler will be in Beaver Local covering that match as we're expecting a milestone for Ivanko from Beaver Local with career assists. So that should be exciting as well. All the action can be found on ysnlive.com/live. Make sure to tune in to that. We want to thank you so much for tuning in today to Running Point. It's always a fun one. Last one of September. When we come back tomorrow, we'll have October on the schedule. 1 to 2, as always, we'll be here to recap all the action from tonight and preview the action from tomorrow. We'll also have a player profile to feature on tomorrow's show. So tune in tomorrow.